Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game Esoteric. We got a brand new series starting for you guys today, Sega Racing Renaissance, where I review every single arcade release Sega racing game that they have ever made in a retrospective fashion. And we're kicking it off with a absolutely over-the-top and weird game, but it is incredible, and that is Sega Race TV. If you can't already tell, it's a little bit strange. Before we get too far involved though, do me a huge favor, go down below, hit like, subscribe, that notification bell definitely helps us out. And if you feel so inclined and want to support the channel, we got a Patreon link down below as well. But I'm starting Race TV off for this series for two reasons. One, it's more modern and that's just fun, and two, it's the last game that Yu Suzuki made for Sega after leaving AM2 before he started his own company. He was also trying to make Shenmue Online, and we all know how that worked out. But this racing game is classic Sega through and through. It is absolutely spectacular. I love it. Now on this series, I'm going to give you the rules quick. 1, it has to be in 3D, 2, it has to have had an arcade release, and 3, it has to feature actual racing. So something like Sega GT or Crazy Taxi are just out. But what's left over is absolutely spectacular because Sega Race TV is classic Sega for a more modern era, and this is an arcade exclusive that has not been ported to consoles as of the recording of this, and I highly doubt that will have changed when we get to the video. But it is just an over-the-top, dialed up to 11 racing experience, and I absolutely love it. It's close to OutRun 2 in the handling, in the drifting mechanics, so if you like OutRun 2, you're going to absolutely love Sega Race TV, and what I love particularly about it is that all of the courses are unique and interesting, and each course changes depending on what lap you're on. You're going to be doing something different in lap 2 than you did in lap 1, and you're going to be doing something different in lap 3 than you did in lap 2. And there I took the checkered flag for the first race. Now this game isn't the hardest game in the world. I am playing this on hard in the test menu settings, and I still for the most part win almost every race, but not all of them. But this game is just classic Sega racing, the stuff of legends, and I will say it right now, you can debate me in the comments down below. Sega arcade racing games are the best racing games ever made. Now one of my favorite racing games might be San Francisco Rush, but as far as a full body of look retrospective, this is the best company when it comes to making arcade racing games, followed very closely by Namco. But Sega Race TV is just an absolute blast, and it's all down to the drifting mechanic and that boost gauge you'll see me using right now. Boost management is super important in this game. You'll see this boost charge right here. If you use your boost in the right spot, it'll win you a race. If you use it in the wrong spot, you're going to go into the wall and flip your car. But it is so important to manage that and use those little speed up pads there, and to avoid all the things on the track, because this isn't just a pure racing game, it's somewhere between a racing game and an obstacle course chase. You'll see there on the next lap, that bridge comes up and we have to jump it, and it is just so much fun to watch that happen in real time. And you'll see you even get a boost bonus sometimes if you're racing well, and you can just hammer on that boost gauge over and over again until it runs out. So in some ways this has a Mario Kart or Sonic and All-Star Racing vibe, except the only power-up you're ever really going to get is going to be that boost gauge. And when you get it, just get on a straightaway, start hammering that button, and you'll do great. You'll see here I save that boost to the last possible second to go over the bridge, hit these two speed up pads, and I'm going to just barely squeak over the line in first place. Had I not had that boost right there, I would have been back in third or fourth place. So you really need to learn the tracks, learn where you want to use those boosts, and go from there. But all of the cars in the game are licensed, and maybe that's why it hasn't been ported over to home consoles, and you have a bunch of different characters that are absolutely spectacular, weird, and wild in their own way, and you get 5 courses and I'll show you them all. But the soundtrack is also spectacular, so listen for 45 seconds, and I will be right back and talk about this game more. It's an amazing soundtrack, and the intensity perfectly fits the intensity of the racing as well. And if you didn't get to hear the soundtrack, that means a copyright flag went up, because sometimes with these tracks that actually have singing in them, it gets a little bit pissy. But you'll see here again, it's not just straight racing, it's also this obstacle course, and I think that actually does a really good job of making this game feel unique and dynamic, because you'll see on the second lap, now all of a sudden we have these cars driving at us and these flaming bomb boulders as well. You're not just racing against the track, you're not just racing against your opponent, you're also racing against all these weird things that are coming out trying to obstruct you and make you crash. You are on your feet the entire time you're playing this game, and I think it's really smart that each lap does something slightly different, because you can't just rest on what you know about a course. And sometimes I've noticed that the laps don't do the same thing in the same order, so it seems like there might be something programmed into this game where what happens on lap 3 on one track might actually happen on lap 2 the next time you play the game. But again, the sense of speed in this game and just the frantic nature of it is so much fun. Use that boost at the end, and you're going to go ahead and get another checkered flag, getting in first place. But you'll see just how close it is that I almost don't win the races. That's because it's on hard. If you play this game on easy or normal, you might find it a little bit too easy. But another great thing you can do is you can go into the car, and I'll show you that shortly, is it gives you an even better sense of speed around the racetrack. This game runs at a locked 60 frames a second, and it is blazing fast, and that's what you want from a racing game, especially from Sega. You do not want a 30 frame per second game. But it's just so much joy to play this. This is the classic Sega from the Daytona 2 Scud Race era, just on more modern hardware, and it is really disappointing that this never made its way home. I'm not sure if it was just a licensing issue because it was an arcade exclusive using actual licensed cars. Who knows why we didn't get this, but you can play it on Windows 10 via TechnoPair. It's really not that hard to do, so if you want to check it out 100% you should. And you'll see here, all of a sudden we're going through Ice World. The physics changed completely, just like any other game that has ice in it, and you really need to be careful going around the corner there or else you will crash. And that's the fun thing. The handling will change up. You can boost over things that would sometimes slow you down. Sometimes you're going to go over a different texture that's going to be harder to manage, and sometimes you just have to deal with trying to skid a car around Ice World. When you do it perfectly, it feels great. And let me tell you, this is a bump and run game. The cars are constantly going to be crashing into you, making it even harder. But if you're careful and you use that boost gauge and you learn what's going on, it's pretty easy to get at least in the top 2. But right there, I totally got cheated at the end. I got bumped into 4th place. It's got that Mario Kart vibe to it where you're winning a race the whole time until you're not. So this is running on the Sega Lindbergh arcade hardware, and that was a direct successor to the Naomi 2, and it is PC based. So this is the first arcade board that Sega had in their arsenal that wasn't based on their own custom hardware. And in some ways that's a little bit sad, because I always love bespoke arcade hardware versus the PC boxes. When you have a game like Sega Race TV on it, you really can't complain. And Lindbergh has some other really good stuff on it that you'll be seeing in this series, including OutRun 2 and R-tuned racing, and that game is even wilder than Sega Race TV in some aspects. But I just love the art style of this game as well. It's like going through a carnival. There's so much stuff on the side of the track that you want to look at, but you can't really look away too much because you in fact are racing around. But it is colorful, it's unique, and it's Sega through and through. And honestly, some of the characters are extremely weird, and the intro is one of the most absurd things I've ever seen. So after the credits, stick around, I will let you watch the intro with the music, and unless it hits a copyright strike and it goes missing, you'll know by the length of the video and where you are in it. But if it's still there, you have to watch it because it's incredible. I love that we just drove by a giant inflatable teddy bear wearing sunglasses. It's basically like Yu Suzuki and his design team said, whatever you want to throw in this game, do it. No idea is too weird, no idea is too strange. If you want to put bombs in the middle of the track that you have to try to get through, go ahead and put bombs in the middle of the track and try to make people get through them. We don't care, do what you want. And this game is that to a T. Nothing makes sense, but the racing is incredible. It's like OutRun 2 with the drift mechanic, except faster and weirder, and I am 100% there for it. And if you've never even heard of Sega Race TV, definitely check it out because this is one of the deeper cuts, and I wanted to start the series with something that I wanted everyone to play, and that's why this is at the top spot. But I have a minimum of 19 more episodes coming up in Sega Racing Renaissance. We're going to be talking about every single 3D racing game ever made by Sega, and it's going to be one hell of a time. But you'll see there, I took the checkered flag again. I love this game. Actually, I got second. I got confused. Watch the intro after the credits. See you next time. Bye-bye.
皆さん、レースでトゥゲザーです。Yo, get on up. Yo, get on top. Hey, get away. Yeah. You gotta rock. You gotta love. You gotta move. Hey, get on rock. It's get on rock, baby. Get on top. Hey, get on rock. Hey, give 'em lies. Hey, yo, get on rock. Hey, yo, get on up. Check it. Woo. Hey, get on up. Get down. Get me, get out. More 激しく。Right, so.